Hello, Billy Reeves here. Welcome to the Kscope podcast number 160. Busy, busy, busy. Loads to get through. There's a new TesseracT album on the way, a new single, an epic video. Here's James Monteith, their guitarist, to lead you into Same.
I'm a big fan of the title track. Like when it comes in, it's just like a really huge, like a huge riff that'll hopefully get people's heads banging a little bit. And it just takes you on a really cool journey. It's very dynamic. The riffs are really fun to play. And we've just made a music video for it as well, which is quite exciting. War of Being.
TesseracT, War of Being, the title track of their forthcoming album, out on September the 15th, accompanied by the most epic video you'll ever see in your life, heading towards 500,000 views. Here's bass player and conceptualist Amos Williams to talk us through the video.
What a experience it was to be a part of the team that created that, to work with such wonderful people like Richard Oakes and the Found Format guys, again, just awesome. Because, they pushed us to develop something that was next level, and they pushed themselves to generate and create this wonderful world that hopefully illustrates the concept in a way that does the song justice. I really do hope that's the case. It was the end result of 2 years of development. I certainly remember having the first meetings with Kyle and Stephen from Found Format when I was living in France during lockdown. I am proud is never a feeling I explore, but I'm definitely happy and excited with how War of Being, the song, represents to me what War of Being, the album, represents in terms of scope, in terms of achievement, in terms of our ambition and the realization and manifestation of our imagination on this one.
There's been much chat online amongst TesseracT fans about Amos's concept and Daniel Tompkins's lyrics. Here's Dan.
For me, the War of Being represents the war with myself that I've been in, that I feel like I've been in ever since I was a teenager, and I've never addressed it. It's definitely, I feel very empowered by this record. I feel like I've grown. I feel like I've matured through the process, and I feel like I'm at the time of, it's the perfect time for this album to exist for me, because I've finally, I know this might sound a bit weird, a bit, I don't know, maybe it won't, but I've always felt like I didn't accept my true identity. Like I didn't accept who I was. So I was pretending to be something else and not really being true to who I am. I feel like this album has really brought that to the forefront, and it's definitely made me question a lot of things that have attributes to my own personality that just haven't gelled for many, many years. So The War of Being is a very apt title, and I feel like it will apply to a lot of people, is that, you know, we're all constantly at war with ourselves, in our minds, with other people. And a lot of us just don't know who we are. We're very lost people, pretending to be something that we're not.
Is that because of the way that you're seen by other people? Is the war with yourself, does that have to start the process of you accepting yourself, because you're not pretending to be anything else in front of other people? I mean, as an artist, you're constantly doing that.
Yeah, there are many different layers to this, but I've always struggled existing in the music industry, and I think that comes down to a couple of different reasons. One is because I feel like I have been sitting on a lot of emotional and psychological issues from a very young age, and I've always tried to hide them.
Okay.
And I feel like that has gotten in the way of the relationships that I've had and the way that I interact with people. I feel like I've grown, obviously, over the years, and I'm over it now. But for example, I had severe anxiety when I was a teenager. I'm talking severe, like to the point where I would be a nervous wreck. I couldn't socialise. I would come out in ridiculous, deep purple blotches all over my body because I was so stressed and anxious and just sweating, muscular spasms, all that kind of stuff. It was really, I had a stammer from a young age, and it's like,
yes, I remember you saying that. Yeah,
it's something that I've always I've tried to hide. And especially being a police officer, it's like, it's this whole wall that you build around yourself, and you make yourself into something. It's a false exterior, and I feel like I kind of carried that throughout my adulthood up until even through my 30s. I just turned 40 a few weeks ago, and
Happy birthday!
Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, it's a very important album for me in a lot of ways.
Daniel Tompkins. Now, I've spoken to all 5 members of TesseracT, and you'll hear excerpts from all of those interviews as we head up to and beyond the release of the album War of Being in September. There's a world tour and tickets are on sale now. Now, I Am The Morning's piano genius GLEB KOLYADIN has a new album out on Kscope. It's called The Outland. This is a snippet of Ascension. Now, GLEB's finally moved to England now, and a lot of this album reminded me of children's TV music from when I was young, and I wondered why.
If you look at the statistics, the majority of new music nowadays is still in a minor key, and so perhaps it was some sort of protective reaction of my brain to create something more kind and more bright. I gave the track its title even before I moved to the UK. It seems like the universe had a hint of it, maybe. So yes, it's possible that this track is about me right now. Everything is still very new for me. I have nothing to complain about anyway, because everyone here is very kind and friendly, and I didn't expect that, sincerely. Everyone is trying to help and recommend good places, like tasty fish and chips. Plus, I often go to open mic nights at various pubs, so I've made some new friends here. But I think perhaps the most challenging thing here, aside from the fact that everything is significantly more expensive than I'm used to, is organizing my daily routine. When you have been living at home for many years, you know where to go for groceries or where to grab a snack. But here I still have a daily struggle of how to organize my leisure time or some basic things. But anyway, it's quite exciting because, I don't know, I see it as a sort of quest. And I'm really glad that I'm gradually figuring it out.
Have you got plans to take it out live? I guess it would be a tricky thing to do presently.
I would love to perform live more, of course, because in the previous 3 years, I did a lot of solo performances. I mean, literally solo, like piano concerts. And I realized that I'm very interested in performing in that format because I can improvise the entire evening. And but now we are planning a lot of shows with Mariana, and we have 2 major tours coming up in the autumn. I really hope to be able to organize my solo shows as well. Perhaps the Outland release will push me a little closer to that. I don't know. We'll see.
I absolutely love the artwork, proper old school, and with instrumental music, I guess you have to create a narrative visually. It looks like, a hermit, the artist creating music and then staring into an open space. Have I got the interpretation right?
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you like the artwork because, I also really like it. It was created by Anhikar Mathian, an Indonesian artist. I discovered his artworks a few years ago in Instagram, and I'm a big fan of what he's doing. And what I really like about his works, and specifically this cover art, that it has a room for fantasy. I mean, sometimes when you look at an album cover, it immediately triggers specific associations, maybe a certain music or mood. But I really like the idea when everyone can find their own understanding. Yeah, I mean, of course, you can see on this picture that there is a hermit looking into the horizon. But I think that everyone can see themselves in it. And for me personally, this cover art about the situation when you read the news and see how the world around you becomes chaotic, and it's crucial to create your own world, like gathering fragments from surrounding chaos. But it is just my own interpretation, and everyone can see absolutely different things, and this is the main idea. Initially, I wanted to record this album live. I was thinking to find the musicians and making a recording together in the studio, but because of the COVID, I had to record everything remotely again. So it became like another musical puzzle. It is about more than just notes and music. It's about a certain positive energy. I was very lucky because all the musicians enjoyed recording their parts, and I think in such cases there is usually no need to explain much because everyone simply feels the music and complements it, and it's very enjoyable to work with such a good and friendly vibe.
There's lots of grooves on the record. Gavin Harrison banging away on the drums. This isn't a conservatoire album. Are you composing music now which suits the LP format, do you think?
That's interesting. Initially, I composed this album entirely on the piano. I mean, theoretically, I could perform this work on the piano solo, although it would sound quite different, of course. I still haven't let go of the idea of recording a piano album with such complex music. A couple of years ago, I released my previous album, Water Movements. It mostly consists of piano ambient and kind of neoclassical piano music. But I still have ideas to create a more complex solo album, piano album. I'm very interested in playing classical pieces in general, and it's essentially what I studied and what I do best. So yeah, it would be great to combine something from progressive music with I don't know, Stravinsky, Prokofiev in one program, in one set. I'm a bit concerned because I'm a bit slow, as I still have a lot of work related for theaters. Especially in the past few years, I've had several theater premieres every year for which I compose music. But I'm confident that I will find time to create a full solo program in the future. And I think it would be very interesting, not just for me, but for listeners also.
How's Mariana?
Mariana says hi. It seems that we have big plans for the coming year. Because, we lived in different countries for 3 years, but now we're finally together. So we are planning to record a new album in the next few months. And I'm sure that there is a lot of interesting things ahead. And also, as I mentioned, we have quite a lot of shows planned for the autumn. So we'll be happy to see everyone there.
Well, thanks a lot, Gleb, man. Very best wishes with the record. It's great.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to have shared the music and some of my strange comments. I hope everyone enjoys the album, but even if you don't like it, still give it a listen, please.
KOLYADIN. The album is called The Outland, that's called Apparatus. Features a long-term collaborator Vlad Avey on guitar, Tony Levin of King Crimson and Peter Gabriel's band on upright bass, and Gavin Harrison from King Crimson and the Pineapple Thief on drums. And talking of the Pineapple Thief, our dear friend Bruce Soord has dropped, as they say, the first single from his third solo album. The album's going to be called Luminescence, and I spoke to Bruce recently and accused him of being a mature songwriter now.
Well, let's face it, that would be the old-fashioned review of it.
It would, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Because being introspective is tough when you're in middle age, and when you're a kid, you can be why do girls don't like me, and this soft down hair.
And also life is infinite, isn't it? When you're a 20-year-old, you don't, and so now you're 50, and you're kind of thinking, oh my goodness, the days really are numbered. Not just that, but my kids are only going to be home for a bit long. Well, actually, probably not. Probably be home forever. But
these days,
the time is just things are passing by so quickly.
But what a legacy to leave them!
This longing to understand what on earth it's all about. And that basically is everything that informs my writing, I think.
Well, that's why pop music is the greatest of all the human abstracts, you see, because it appeals to all the senses and all the branches of the intellect, I think, including smell. And that's what I love about your music, because I think it's brave.
Oh, yeah, well, I never thought of it like that. But and the other thing of it, of course, being in this room when you're writing really introspective stuff, in the dark winter nights, especially when some songs weren't going so well, and you'd spend a week on an idea that would end up in the bin, and then you start new ones. It's very solitary, and you can find yourself actually getting quite I wouldn't say I ever got down, but it's quite an intense thing to put your brain through.
Yeah, well, especially as it's part of your income and it's feeding the people opposite you.
I found that the words were so important, not just what you were saying, but how you were saying it,
and exposed, aren't they?
So I would sometimes spend a whole day on 5 or 6 words in a chorus, and by the end of it, you're going absolutely mad.
That's the downside of not working to the clock in a traditional studio, isn't it?
Yeah, come on, yeah. And some days I'd end the day and I'd be so mentally exhausted, and then I'd wake up the next day and then it would be like, whoa, there it is. Of course, that's what it. Not always, but that's when. And now I listen back to it and I realise that attention to detail has really paid off.
Shadows cast over our remains, with the wounded leaves still clinging on for dear life, for dear life, for dear life. Wish it away, wish that it will all be over in the sweetest place. Glow. Barely time to dry those saddest eyes I know. After all we have seen, still clinging on for dear life, still for dear. To wish it away, wish that it will all be over. In the sweet
Bruce Soord, Dear Life, the single. A suitably beautiful video for that beautiful song is available to watch right now. The album, Luminescence, will be available on the 22nd of September, and in the autumn there will be a solo tour throughout the UK and Europe with his trio. Right, your Kscope news, grab a pencil. Osric Tentacles and Gong joint tour March of next year, entitled The Last Blast. There'll be some album news from both groups to come. Kavas Tarabi from Gong debuted a new Gong track during his DJ set at Britain's biggest gig this year, the Wembley Stadium Blur shows. Tangerine Dream are in the UK in November. Empire Festival dates out in Wales, down in London, up near their hometown in Peterborough. And starting in the next Kscope podcast, I want to hear from you or your friends if you or they make interesting music. Now, Kscope aren't looking to sign anybody. The roster is absolutely ram full. However, we'd very much like to play some interesting music, unsigned, unheard perhaps, to close each of the podcasts. So, if you or anybody you know make interesting music, please send it to me, not as an attachment, as a link to a SoundCloud or YouTube or some such, to listen@kscopemusic.com. So listen@kscopemusic.com. And we'll have Johnny Wilkes at Kscope have a listen to them, and we'll play some of the best ones over the course of the year. So, as I say, we're not looking to sign anybody, but we are looking to play something interesting, something unsigned from anywhere in the world. Please send it to me, listen@kscopemusic.com. As a link, not as an attachment, please. Right, looking forward to hearing those new unheard vibes. Now, we're going to close with some early Bruce Soord, The Pineapple Thief. From the book set, How Did We Find Our Way, 1999 to 2006, which is the first in a series of one-off deluxe book sets cataloguing the career of the Pineapple Thief. How Did We Find Our Way is out now, a 64-page book, 8.5 hours of music, including 80 minutes of super rarities across 8 discs, one of which Dolby Atmos surround sound on the Blu-ray. Originally from 10 Stories Down, I'm going to finish with this, The Pineapple Thief, the world I always dreamed of. See you soon.
You said